How's everybody doing today? My name is Alan Roberts. Everybody's having a good day. So we're just going to get right to it because I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people asking questions about this. But we're about to watch a video where I think it's rather important. Like this video and a few others have kind of opened my eyes in the last couple of days. So for years now, I've been using my sarcasm and humor, and some say meanness, which I'm not going to even disagree with, to try to point out the issues that we're having in our society about obesity, lifestyle-driven chronic illness, the impact it has on everybody, and those sorts of things. And I've used, obviously, humor, swear words, and data. But this video we're going to watch from this woman, and I would say young woman, but she's an old woman for her physical stature. It kind of showed me how far gone people are in regards to their physical health. My sound is a little off. Let me check. Thank you for telling me. I think I know why. I know why. Test. Maybe that's better. Thank you, Jules. Not Jules. I appreciate it. But we're about to watch a video, and I'm going to let it play. Well, I can't really let it play the whole way through. So, but we're just going to put this up.
In community is that we actually care so much about our health, but the problem is that doctors like to gaslight us, and then in turn we don't want to go to the doctor, and there's a whole
I really wish that I could come up with a better. This is what I do for a living, people. I help people like this woman. No, I know no video yet, but the reason why is because I'm putting it up. I'm literally beside myself with this. I'm going to be honest. Like, the level of disconnection to reality at this stage, we can't even call it, we can't even call it willful. Like, this is not willful. This woman is just, misinformed and deluded with what we're about to hear. And I'm going to try to, make sure that everybody understands that we can no longer do this. This is how far gone some people are. This is really bad for her and all of society. And I'm like this. Oh, seriously, I'm like beside myself. Here we go.
Gaslighting that fat people face is sadly still very real and alive. I recently went to the doctor in regards to having an infection and talking about managing my type 2 diabetes, and the doctor just automatically assumed that I do not take care of myself. We start going on.
Well, that might be because you are a very large person. You have grown your body very big. You have eaten yourself to a very large state. And you have eaten yourself into type 2 diabetes, because type 2 diabetes is almost completely, wholly lifestyle related. And if you were watching what you ate, it would be managed. Your type 2 diabetes would be well managed. And I'm not like, this is just fact. I can't. I mean, dozens and dozens of people, my wife and I, have helped reverse type 2 diabetes for. Dozens. Dozens of people are off their type 2 diabetes medications with no insulin resistance anymore after being full-blown diabetic and full-blown type 2 diabetic. And it's like this premise of course you don't take care of yourself. You have unmanaged type 2 diabetes. Diabetes, again, 95% manageable, avoidable, or mitigatable by lifestyle. So just off the bat, you can say we have diminished the concept of what type 2 diabetes does, what it stems from, and how to change it. How did we get here? It wasn't for me. I can guarantee you that. But how did we get here? I don't get it. I was on metformin for all of 6 months. Totally normal blood sugar now. That's awesome. Great job. Everybody congratulates CK Hamlin. So let's listen to this woman continue more
about how I need to be on a proper diet. And then I said to them, how do you know I'm not on a proper
There's not a there shouldn't be the air quotes. There's a proper diet.
diet? Because diet. And then I said to them, how do you know I'm not on a proper diet? Because I'm not going
to because you have unmanaged type 2 diabetes, you're obese, and you're there for an infection. That's how. That's how it's very clear that you're not on a proper diet. But we have eyes. And you might that's not necessarily always true. She could be if she could be dramatically losing weight right now from being on what would be a proper diet, which would include next to no ultra processed foods at all, which I can guarantee you she eats, and being mainly protein focused. But I'm assuming the doctor knows because you have unmanaged type 2 diabetes and an infection, which for type 2 diabetics, by the way, she's probably talking about a skin infection or foot infection or something like that. But that's very dangerous for type 2 diabetics. And you should take it more seriously than you are. It's like we've told people that it's not a big deal to be type 2 diabetic. Oh, you got diabetes. Take some metformin, some insulin, and have some cake. It's wild. Wild. Let's continue.
Act like the way I eat is 100% perfect. And yes, I do have a history of, however.
I believe that she's pointing out binge eating disorder above because you can't say it on TikTok, which you really can't say it on YouTube. This will get demonetized. I don't care. This is about getting, the message out that this is completely detached from reality. 100% completely detached from reality. This is why we shouldn't embolden and we shouldn't affirm everybody's delusions, because this is affirmed delusion right over here.
I've been doing such a great job of eating my vegetables before I eat my protein and fat before I eat.
I don't know whoever told you that, but you should eat your protein and fat first because they're the two most essential nutrients the body needs. Your body does not even need carbohydrates. Your body needs protein, and your body needs fat to run, to operate, to live. So you can eat your vegetables before your protein. That's good, but you don't need to. And one more thing here. Let's click back a little bit. And I hope you're watching this, ma'am. I really do. I hope you're watching this.
I've been doing such a great job of eating my vegetables.
And she, notice how she forms it, by the way, as she's doing great.
Before I eat my protein and fat, before I eat my starch. And at
your size, I would argue that starch should be a once a week thing, if that. And starch, if you mean starch, meaning any type of bread, any type of pasta, or anything like that, you shouldn't be eating that stuff probably at all. If you're type 2 diabetic, you should not be. If you're a type 2 diabetic, you should not be eating starchy foods at all. At all. They're not essential. Starchy foods are not essential. If you're a type 2 diabetic, even a type 1 diabetic, a potato, something like that should be a very rare experience for you. And that's again, I challenge all of you. Instead of being like, oh, this guy is just normally screaming and yelling and swearing and everything like that, I challenge any of you to look up anything I say and say I'm wrong. I challenge you. I challenge any of you.
Been drinking a lot of.
Hang on a second. Are we counting sweet potato here for type 2 diabetes, trying to control their diabetes? If your diabetes is out of control or you are type 2 diabetic, yes. Absolutely. You don't need starches if you're type 2 diabetic. You just don't. You don't need anything that's going to in any way pump your insulin up. Now, while the potato and sweet potato and even rice might digest slower, so it doesn't give you that massive insulin spike, it is still going to spike insulin, and you do not need that if you're type 2 diabetic at all whatsoever. You do not need that. You should make it so your body is almost starved of insulin. Therefore, your insulin resistance, which is what makes you type 2 diabetic, starts to dissipate because your body will adapt and it will in fact become more insulin sensitive because you'll have less insulin going through your body. But that's the reason why.
Of water, and he also assumed that I do not drink enough water, but I'm a
well,
fish. How to explain?
No, I bet you actually don't. And what they can say that upon is that the actual data shows that you should try to get an ounce per pound of body mass. For you, for anybody that's morbidly obese, I always suggest an ounce per pound of ideal body mass, just because if she would have tried to drink an ounce per pound of her body mass, it would likely overload her kidneys, and it would rob her body of many, many minerals and nutrients that she's already probably pretty starved of, because many of them are fat soluble, and she's got a lot of fat.
To this person that I exercise almost every day. Now, am I
Do you?
Powerlifting? Am I doing acrobatics? No, it's more so walking or doing some resistance exercise, but nonetheless,
So here's the thing. That's not exercise. That's just activity. And you should be active every day. If you are big, especially if you have type 2 diabetes or something like that, if you have a lifestyle chronic driven illness, you should be on your feet as much as humanly possible every single day. That is not exercise. That is just you being active. We evolved moving around all the time. Part of our lifestyle is not just the food. This is the aspect where it's not just the food. We are not active as people. I'm not nearly as active as I need to be. I've been working on a major project here, and my head's been buried in this. And I've gotten a few workouts in recently, and honestly, I barely, I don't even get that much walking around except for the homestead, and that's not healthy. And I'm going to rectify that as soon as I'm done with this goddamn project. But this is just, I mean, that's not really exercise. That is like the base level expectation of being a human. And I think that's what we've lost. We've lost like the base level expectation of being a human, which is not gluttoning yourself and moving your body and drinking enough water, getting enough sleep.
Doing it. If I were in a smaller body,
If you were in a smaller body, it would be because you changed what you're eating. That's what would put you in a smaller body. That's also what would likely reverse your type 2 diabetes, because you're changing what you're eating. Because what you're eating and how you're living is what's caused your type 2 diabetes, and it's what's keeping you type 2 diabetic.
Guarantee you, I would not be accused of not eating well or not.
Because even though a person that's not not thin, I almost said it, a person that's not thin, even though they're not necessarily healthy, they're at least not eating in a caloric unbalance. They're not eating, they're not over consuming calories. They still may be eating poorly. Their calories can still be made up of low nutrient dense food, which is extremely unhealthy. And that's why you see a lot of people that are built like Homer Simpson. They have almost no muscle mass and they have a big belly. And that's very, very unhealthy in of itself too. So that's also why I suggest that waist to height ratio is a more important factor.
I'm taking care of myself properly. The thing is,
you're, ma'am, I almost felt blood coming out of my ears. You're not taking care of yourself properly because you're at the doctor, morbidly obese, with type 2 diabetes and an infection. That is all the evidence that's needed to know that something in your lifestyle is, in fact, not taking care of yourself properly.
Fat people, we can do everything right, but
if you did everything right, you'd lose weight and you wouldn't be fat.
But if the labs don't look great, or
if your labs don't look great, you're not doing everything right.
Once again, another infection, it's suddenly...
Once again, another infection?
Our fault. Instead of saying, oh, well, clearly you're not eating well because of...
You're clearly not eating well.
The way your labs or your frequency of infections are looking.
If you have to say the words frequency of infections, you're not doing something right. Well, this is what I'm talking about. This woman's completely detached, completely detached of what's actually happening, because for too long society has basically, affirmed their expectation of, you can't tell me I'm healthy if I'm fat, and that's just ridiculous. I can tell you you're healthy if you're not healthy if you're fat, because you're fat. That's just very, very true. You know,
maybe you could say, hey, how is your diet going? Are you eating balanced meals? Let me know about that. But instead, you just automatically assume, especially someone who.
one more time, you are at the doctor for yet again another infection in your infection frequency. With type 2 diabetes, it's clearly not managed because you have an infection frequency and you're morbidly obese. What outcome were you expecting?
Who's been trying so hard to, keep being in recovery from this thing. I can't say it out loud of getting in trouble on TikTok. I'm so proud of the choices that I make.
That's a problem. That's an honest problem. If you're proud of the choices that you make and you are still type 2 diabetic with a frequency infection, yet another one, and you're still morbidly obese, that's the problem. And somebody just pointed this out. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this in a second. Very, 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 very poignant.
I feel so empowered by my knowledge about nutrition. Just to have.
Why do you feel empowered about your knowledge about nutrition when you have unmanaged type 2 diabetes, an infection frequency, and are morbidly obese? And now you're disagreeing. Now you're upset that the doctor is even bringing this stuff up. Why are you proud about your knowledge about nutrition at all? The problem is nobody wants to think that they're the problem. Nobody wants to admit that they're the actual issue. Like, get there faster, people. Like, this would be like me saying, like, I wonder why a bunch of people don't want to hang out with me all the time. It's because I'm an asshole. Like, I'm the only person who really gets me is my wife. Like, I'm aware of this. I'm not like, oh, I wish I had had more people. I don't even like that people that much, so I'm good with it. But it's like the lack of self-reflection is simply amazing.
The doctor just assume the worst, and then you wonder why fat people don't like going to the doctor.
Fat people don't like going to the doctor, apparently, because some doctors still tell you guys the truth. And you guys don't like hearing the truth. And we're about to find out why.
There's anything I can tell you about, like, the fat liberation community?
There it is, the fat liberation community. There we go. That's why you have delusion. Because that shouldn't even be a thing. The big mistake, one of the biggest mistakes society made was even talking about the concept of a fat liberation community or a body positive community that makes it so that, like, every body is a good body. Not every body is a good body. Your body, ma'am, is not a good body. I mean, it might have been a good body, and it still could probably be a good body. I mean, it might not ever look the way you want it to look, but it could still be a good body if you actually paid attention and actually tried. But instead, you're hissy-fitting online about pretty clear delusion about your physical stature. And the thing I find most terrifying for you, ma'am, is you have an infection frequency with type 2 diabetes. And you think you know best. Like, you thinking you know what's best for you when you have done this to you, to the point where, and don't get me wrong, most doctors do. I'm surprised the doctor even asked her about a proper diet. And I would argue that the doctor probably doesn't even know what the proper diet is. But yes, here we go. If it's yeast infection, they can become resistant, and then unless you change, there's no help. And the yeast infections lead to necrotizing fasciitis of the skin folds. Look it up. It's horrible.
Is that we actually care so much about our health, but the problem.
No, you don't. You don't care about your health. I'm sure you do deep down, and I'm sure, like, that's where I think some of these videos come from. Is like the person, like, realizes how messed up they are, but they're basically they can't admit fault in any way, and they can't take personal responsibility because society has trained them that they don't have to. And as we're going to talk about here in a second, these people are addicts. Like this is like addict behavior, right? Being told like to quit drinking, like addict behavior. I can quit anytime I want, and I know what my body does, and I know how my body functions, and I'm good until your liver fucking falls out of your ass. Like that's the thing.
Problem is that doctors like to gaslight us, and then in turn
They don't like to gaslight you. Frankly, doctors don't know shit about nutrition anyway. I don't know why you're going to one. And very frankly, I've been very honest about most doctors should not even treat metabolic disorder because they're not actually like educated on how to reverse it. They don't know where it comes from because they're not taught any nutrition, and they don't reverse it. They don't even try to. They just medicate the fuck out of you. And that's what they do. And very realistically, I can guarantee you that Crystal and I have cured more cases of type 2 diabetes than the average doctor by a lot. By a lot. It's crazy.
we don't want to go to the doctor. And there's the whole layer of being both fat and a woman. That historically and presently, we don't listen to women.
As a feminist, I'm telling you that being fat is not good for women. It makes it so you are dependent. If you want to be independent, which is what feminism is about, you will not be morbidly obese. I will argue this until the cows come home. And I don't know where that phrase comes from. Anyway, but I will argue this for the rest of my life. If you are a feminist, you would encourage every woman you know to be strong, physically powerful, in phenomenal shape with no chronic illnesses. That's what feminism, that should be part of feminism. Because that is empowerment. When you do not have to depend upon your doctor, the government, anything like that, that is empowerment. And when you are morbidly obese, you are the target market of big food, big pharma, facilitated by our government because they want you fat, sick, weak, and dependent. It makes it so they make more money off you. It makes it so they have you under their thumb. It makes it so that you are dependent upon them in multiple faceted ways. If you are truly a feminist, you will encourage every woman you know to be in the best shape humanly possible, to be in the best physical condition. You will encourage every woman you know to train as if their life depends upon it, to eat as if their life depends upon it, because very frankly, it does. And all women should be strong women. All women should be. But if you are morbidly obese, you are not a strong woman. You are dependent upon many things. You are weak in many, many, many facets of your life. And that should change. To truly be a feminist, to truly want the best for women, women should not need anybody. But if they want people, they can have them. That's my view on it. And I know that, you're a man, you shouldn't talk about feminism. Too fucking bad. Because I don't understand how any of this is in any way talking, like you're complaining about how you're treated as a woman. And in reality, the medical community treats women fucking horribly. And I will say that I can't take much more of her and be nice. So I'm not going to, or be nice-ish. So we're going to just talk. But the medical community does treat women very, very poorly. Frankly, they encourage you guys going on hormones by the time, most of the time, you're like 9 or 10 nowadays. So that's pretty bad. The average woman, excuse me, the average woman is on medication in America for 64 fucking years. That is horrible. That is horrible. Hang on a second. Then why is society mad about strong black women? Who? When you say society, you wrap everybody all together. So who in society is mad about strong black women? Name one. Name the people. Because you saying all of society means everybody, and that's not me. Frankly, I can identify as a black woman if I wanted to, by the stereotypical standards, But when you say that, stuff like that, you are generalizing the entire population. Black men, all black men? All of them? Incel men? Incel men, it's not about being black. Incel men, it's, how do you know most? Again, like I'm not trying to argue with you, but maybe like the what you're being shown is different, because most black men I know love strong women, like love them in many ways, physically, emotionally, mentally. They like the black men I know like strong women, strong black women mostly. A good portion of them is just strong women. Most of the white dudes I know like strong women, period. Black, white, Asian, doesn't matter, right? Remember that you are being shown what social media wants you to see. You are being shown what they want you to see. You know, you are being shown what the algorithm wants to show you to keep you involved. The very second they realize that they can get you involved with cat videos and telling you how horrible the rest of society is, that's what they go with. You know, like that's what they go with. So just keep it in mind that when you're judging like a whole entire sector of society, or even just society, please remember that that is not the case. Just like I say, society doesn't like, society, coddles, fat people. Not all of society. I would say a decent portion from what we're seeing, but not all of society. I believe that a lot of people stay silent about it, and there's people like me, lots of people like me. Honey Bison's in the chat, a few others are in the chat, and we're not coddling anybody. But that's just my thought, is that, like, you gotta be, make sure that what you're being shown is not always, it's not always the truth. Social media is not the real world, right? Like, social media would make you believe that people in the South are racist, and there's a Klan meeting at everything. And my God, the word white supremacy has been used so much in recent time, in the recent news. I can't even get over it. But all of my neighbors are either, are black, Mexican, something like that, except for maybe two. And neighbors, I mean, country homestead people, like, it's not about that. And I mean, it's weird. Like I've lived, excuse me, I grew up north. And then I live in the South, and I like living in the South way more than living in the North. And one of the reasons why, and I've said this on many videos, you can go back, check me. One of the reasons why is that people are way more racist up north. They just try to pretend they're not, which makes it worse. Like, people up north, they have the racism of low expectations of minorities, and that's just the truth. People up north will create a word instead of calling people black people or whatever. They will call them Canadians or something like that. And I kid you not. Ask what some white people from up north. It's one of the reasons why we moved back down south, is because the people up there are just not good people mostly. The people that I ran into, like, there was plenty of good people, but it's way more racist up there from my experience than it is down in the South. Now, I'm not saying there's not racists in the South, because there's stupid people everywhere. Right. But that's my thing. Like, you got to watch when you're looking at stuff like this, and the media is, if anything, like they're saying the biggest problem we have is white supremacy in America. I would argue the biggest problem we have is, tens of millions of illegal aliens being in here, sucking off the teat of the government, which is our money, and literally committing crimes that they're let out for the next day. I would argue that that's it. I would argue to a great degree, the biggest problem in America is that over 50% of the population likely is addicted to some sort of ultra-processed food. We eat in America, as an average, 60 to 70% ultra-processed foods on a daily basis. That is a recipe for death. That is a recipe for chronic illness. It is not a sustainable nutritional plan for a country at all, right? It is the reason why we're sick. If we wanted to make America healthy again, we are never going to legislate this. But there is legislation that would do it, though. But it would never pass, because, one, it's my idea, and two, it would upset the biggest donors to all the political parties. But make it so any ultra processed food has 100% tax on it, and that tax money goes directly to local farmers from that area. Like, if I could be the governor of a state, or in charge of the rules of the state for one of the southern states, I would literally make it so any ultra processed food had 100% tax on it, and that money went to the local farmers of that state to produce the produce for that state. And before you know it, people will be eating less ultra processed foods, because they will be much more expensive. Because as it is right now, we subsidize them, which that's another thing too. We should move the subsidies over from corn, sugar, soy to local farmers that grow and distribute to local people. If we really wanted to make America healthy again, that's what we would do. We are not going to make America healthy again by signing a $70 billion deal with Pfizer, as President Trump just did. And while I do not regret my vote because the other option was ridiculous, that is not what I voted for. I voted for I voted for basically the end of the pharmaceutical industry, because that's one of the things that's killing us, is the over-medicalization of America. And the over-medicalization of America can happen because they have convinced everybody that when they feel a little bit down, they are depressed and they need a pill instead of going out and getting some exercise and getting some sunlight. That when they're, just feeling a little bit of pain, they need some sort of pain medication instead of making so your body gets used to the pain, and it will. They've made it so that anytime you have a headache or anything like that, you should take something that's very liver toxic, Tylenol or ibuprofen or NSAIDs. They're not good for you at all whatsoever. They've made it so natural remedies and herbs are viewed as witch doctor stuff, when most medications are based off of something from nature that they just made into a synthetic version. And that's just factual. So while I understand that we have, we have a long way to go, I just wanted to point out that this video is kind of scary to me. Like I'm going to be changing my content up quite a bit because, very frankly, it's not what we're getting. No, it's not what we're getting. We're not going to get that either, because even RFK, and don't get me wrong, I think RFK has some good thoughts, but the biggest thing right now, here's how you know that it's not going to happen. Like what we expected to happen is not going to happen. There's still Ozempic commercials on every TV in America. There should be no pharmaceutical commercials at all. None. You take away that money and you take away the narrative control. You take away the narrative control, then you take away you must be on this pill, you must be on this drug, you must be doing this, you must do this, you must do this, you must do this. And then we deal with the ultra-processed foods, and we make America kind of admit to themselves that most people are addicted to sugar or ultra-processed foods. It's wild to watch. With the lady we just watched, very frankly, she has ultra-processed food addiction. You know how you know? She's still type 2 diabetic and still eats okay, basically. If you are a type 2 diabetic, you should not eat starchy food at all. You should try very hard not to. You should starve your body of anything that's going to spike your insulin levels. And that way your body will not be as insulin resistant, because your body will try to become more insulin sensitive. So what we're getting is the corporatized version. But I've said it a million times. We cannot legislate our way to health. You are not going to legislate our way to making America healthy again. Taking away the food dyes, great. But that's just taking away people's options. What you need to do is convince people that they shouldn't pick those options to begin with. Like this is a nanny state, basically. We're trying, oh yeah, RFK got rid of food dyes. Well, they should have never been there in the first place. And I agree, it's not a bad thing. But the problem is people wanting them, people being okay with eating them, people not realizing how bad they were for them. That's the problem. And that's the system. That is the big food, big pharma, facilitated by big government system. And until people escape that, we're not going to be healthy again. Until people realize that it is time for us to take personal responsibility and impress upon the rest of we the people that they have to have personal responsibility for their own health, it's not going to be there. Because there's just going to be something else that's unhealthy. You're not going to catch all of it. Our entire food system is based around ultra-processed foods, to the point where, once again, the government uses tens of billions of dollars of taxpayer money to subsidize the industry that is, in fact, making us unhealthy. So we just need, as people, to wake up and realize these things. Now, don't get me wrong. You have personal responsibility. If you're morbidly obese and you're not trying to lose weight right now, I would say you're arguably delusional. We had a pandemic 5 years ago, or almost 6 years ago now, where people were literally, the high-risk people were elderly people and people that had gluttoned themselves to the point of being as fragile as an elderly person. And if you are still gluttoning yourself today, you didn't take that seriously. Like not one fat person that is still fat right now can say that they took COVID seriously, ever. I mean, I didn't take it seriously because it's cold and I'm a healthy, athletic person. However, if you are still morbidly obese right now, you didn't take COVID seriously, and you're not taking your health seriously. it's time to do something about it. It's absolutely time to do something about it. If you need help with that, by the way, my wife and I run coaching, and we are about to do some very serious upgrades to the coaching and the app in general. So here is how you can get our coaching. It is daily communication, weekly video conferences, and we will, in fact, work off the lifestyle you currently have, trying to morph it to a healthier one. We focus on satiation, satisfaction, appropriate fitness level activity, proper hydration, sleep, and stress relief. We try to help you rebuild a healthy, sustainable lifestyle that once you've lost the weight, you keep it off for good. So please do check that out and let me know. I might be back later on today. I might not. I hope you all have a fabulous day. And to the young lady that was from this video, please, please, please start taking your health more seriously. My name is Alan Roberts. Goddamn.